don't let it make you cry. For even if I'm far away, I hold you in my heart. I sing a secret song to you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me, each time you hear a sad guitar. Know that I'm with you the only way that I can be, until you're in my arms again. Que nuestra canción no deje de latir, solo con tu amor yo puedo existir. Que nuestra canción no deje de latir, solo con tu amor yo puedo. Recuérdame, si en tu mente vivo estoy. Recuérdame, mis sueños yo te doy. Te llevo en mi corazón y te acompañaré. Unidos en nuestra canción, contigo ahí estaré. Recuérdame, si sola crees estar. Recuérdame, y mi cantar te irá a abrazar. Aún en la distancia nunca vayas a olvidar que yo contigo siempre voy. If you close your eyes and let the music play, keep our love alive, I'll never fade away. If you close your eyes and let the music play, keep our love alive, I'll never fade away. If you close your eyes and let the music play, keep our love alive, I'll never fade away. Remember me, for I will soon be gone. Remember me, and let the love we have live on. And know that I'm with you the only way that I can be. So until you're in my arms again. Que nuestra canción no deje de latir, solo con tu amor yo puedo existir. Que nuestra canción no deje de latir, solo con tu amor yo puedo existir.
Welcome to Ukulele Sprout. Today we will learn how to play the song Remember Me, as featured in Pixar's animated movie Coco. So grab the chart with chords and lyrics in the description down below. Bring your uke, take a deep breath, and follow me. Now that you have the chart, don't be scared. I know that it might look difficult, but I will explain some options to make it easier and approachable to your level of experience as we go through the song together. I chose these chords and positions to enrich the harmony as much as possible. Nevertheless, I don't want the chords to become an issue that might stop you from playing this song. Give them a try. Challenge yourself and practice your bar and chord changes to improve your playing. In the meantime, you can still play the song with a couple of simplified options that I will give you throughout this tutorial. Let's start explaining the rhythm. Anyone can have their own approach to this song. By example, you could play it like this. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me. Or like this. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me. Which one is the right one? That depends on which one you like the best. The one I chose for this song goes like this. Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me. The motions on this rhythm are simply like this. Down, down, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, down. So the right hand is fairly easy what we need to do. The trick to get this rhythm right is on the left hand. We are featuring a technique called the mute or the chung that consists in strumming the strings while muting them with the left hand. You simply have to touch the strings lightly with just enough weight to avoid them to ring. If you do it too lightly, this might happen. If you do it too heavy, You see, there's still some ringing, some sound out of this block that I'm trying to get. So you need to find the balance on your weight to get always this chunky effect every time you strum. We will face two different ways to do so, depending on how many strings your chord has covered. The easy ones like C, F, G, that are using open strings in them, require an extra motion on the left hand to block the strings that are remaining open. By example, here in G, I have the 4th string open, so I have to bring my thumb in to block. On C, I have 3 strings open, so I need to bring my finger somehow inside the strings to block them and get the chunk. While the chords that covers the 4 strings have it easier. You simply have to place your fingers in your chord position and relax your hand, alternating between this relaxed position for the chunk and the pressing position for the chord, like on this D minor 7 that we need for the song. I am already in my chord position, no tension at all, and I get my chunk. And if I press, I get my chord. At the end, all the different chords we might need to play this technique require us to balance those two positions, or muted one and our playing one. Here's another example of these two positions. The chunk position with no pressure and my play position with pressure. An exercise to get this rhythm and this technique going will be just balance and exchanging between those two. Chunk, play, chunk, play. Practice this a little while, either with this chord that is blocking the 4 strings, or with any given chord like this G. Just with quarter notes, then you can change to 8 notes, but the technique on the left hand will remain the same. You will just strum a little more on the right hand, but the left hand is doing the same motion over and over. Let's go on to the chord section. We only have verse and chorus. The verse have 2 different endings, and it has a lot of chords compared to the chorus, you will see. Especially because I chose some other positions and options so we can play some melodies out of the chords as well. But I'm gonna give you some options so we can simplify that and make those chords to look more friendly. So we begin the verse with a G, to a C minor, back to a G. Notice how I'm playing my C minor with my 3 fingers on the same 3rd fret. 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers to play the C minor. Most of the time C minor is shown like this in chord diagrams, with your index blocking those 3 strings. But I'm doing it with these fingers instead, because it's easier to jump from G and back to G with these fingers. I'm not even moving my 3rd finger, I'm keeping that in place. If you're struggling getting the 3 fingers on the same fret, that might be due to your wrist position. If your wrist is too low and your fingers are too straight compared to your fret bars, you won't be able to get the fingers that easily into the same fret. You have to make your wrist to go a little higher, and most of the times to play these chords, your fingers needs to look like this, in an angle, crossing the fret bars. That way, since it's such a tiny instrument, it's easier to bring all the fingers together for these tight positions like D, or this variation of C minor, or a diminished chord. Always keeping this angle makes it much easier. Going on, we have an F that I play with the top C with my pinky. It's the same chord, it just has a different voicing. When you play the F, as it's regularly known, it sounds like this. If you play it with the pinky, it highlights a different note, but you can play just the F as you know it with 2 fingers. From there we have a B7 that I played in a bar position. If you like, you can replace that with this other layout. Notice it's exactly like E minor, same finger layout, it's just 1 string closer to your chin. And from that B7 we will go to E minor actually to continue on to the verse. another F. Again, you can do it with the pinky or without the pinky, it's just the F. And from there I have two chords, G augmented to G7 augmented. Since the G augmented, I already have my index in place, so to exchange between them, I only have to release that note on the second string. And I have that little melody that leads to another E minor. That's why I chose those chords. If you are struggling with them, you can just cross them out of the chart and replace them with a single G. It'll do the same job to go to E minor. Okay? Finally, on that last line, from that E minor, we play an E flat, letting the fourth string open. Luckily for us, that E flat features a G, so we can just play it open. Usually the full position goes like this, it's really awkward and tight. Removing the pinky out of the formula makes the E flat easier, and also prepare us for the D that is coming up next to close the verse. These two fingers are in the right position to just slide down and bring your index to the top of them to play the D. For the second ending, you begin the same. G, C minor, G. Here comes the new progression of chords. D minor 7, hear a sad guitar, to G. And know that I'm with you, with that simple C, no other option. Here we'll have some options again. B7. In the chart I put something like this. A lot of chords I'm going up onto the fretboard and playing bar positions because I like this little melody that happens on the B7. Bam, bam, bam. That's why I featured these positions, although it's the same harmony, B7 to E minor, so you can just ignore those changes, stay on the B7 like this, stay on the E minor like this, E flat to D. D connects a little better from the E flat if you stayed in this position. If you went all the way up, play a D7. Lastly, the chorus. After all this work we have put on to the verse, it's good to have a chorus this easy and this simple. We have only three chords, the most popular chords on the ukulele: G, F, and C. And again, the F can feature the top C or not. It's the same chord. Well, that's it for me. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, make the community bigger. If you have any suggestions for another song or video that you'd like me to do in the future, leave it in the comment section down below. Have fun!
Remember me.